Hello, Year 6. My name is Giles, and I'm here with my colleague Alex. Say hello, Alex.
Hi.
And we're both here from a climate change charity called Ashton. Usually, we work all over the world. We work in Africa and Asia with people who have little or no electricity or clean way to cook. We also work in the UK, in our cities, to make them greener, better, and better, more lovely places to live. And Alex and I work with schools. And we're running a campaign called Let's Go Zero 2030, which is all about schools working together to be zero carbon. And now I'm going to hand over to Alex.
Hi there, everyone. Really glad that you can join us and listen to what we have to say today. So we're going to be talking to you about what you can do in your homes and in your school and with your families to help create some action and to really cut your carbon and be real climate champions. So we're going to talk to you about different things that you can do. But firstly, we want to say this isn't all a big challenge that's up to you as children. So you have a role to play, but it's not all on your shoulders. It's not something that you can do, but you can help some of us old adults make some better decisions in our life. And you can be a real force for good, a real champion for the climate. So did you know that there are 9.5 million children that go to school in primary schools and secondary schools? So there's a lot of people. You are an amazing army of young people who are there to really help fight the climate emergency. So we can all play our part. And so we're going to show you some things that you can do to help to get our action happening so that we can get kids taking action. So we're going to talk to you about energy saving. What can you do for energy saving? And then traveling. How do you move about? How do you get to school? How do you get to different things when you go into the shops and things like that? Stuff that you're buying. And you might not be the ones that are buying it. Maybe it's mummy and daddy are buying it or other people are buying it for you. But how can you make better decisions about what you buy? Then what do you eat? All the different things, all the choices that you have about the different things that you enjoy eating and that you get when you go to the supermarket. And then really, really powerful tool that you all have is your voice. How can you use your voice to really be a climate champion? So first of all, I'm going to start by talking about the things that you can do to save energy. How can you be saving energy in your lives and in your day-to-day and in your school? What are the things that you can do? Now, we all know that there's lights all around us in your classroom and at home. There's lights all over the place that often we leave on. We're not very good at always turning them off. So that's something that you can do. The magic tool for climate change is your finger to turn lights off and turn equipment off and different things when you're not using them. You can make sure that you are turning computers off. So when you're not using your computer or your PlayStation or Xbox or all the things that are using power around your home, your TV, when you leave the room, make sure that you turn them off so that they're not using energy when you don't need to use them. So we're not saying that you should live in a world where there's no energy and you're not using energy at all, but just don't waste it. Don't use it when you don't need to be using it. And the other thing is help other people to make those good decisions. So we sometimes aren't very confident about what we can turn off. We think, well, if I turn that off, I might get in trouble. Somebody might say, well, oh dear, she turned the computer off. It's all, oh dear, she's made a big disaster there. But actually, we need to help each other. So getting signs around your school, maybe not necessarily around your home, you can just talk to people around your home, but around your school, signs that say, do you know what? If you think no one's using this, you can turn it off. That's okay. No one's going to ever get in trouble for turning it off. So help people make the decision so that the teachers and the people who come and clean your schools can also know what they can turn off. The next thing is we're going to learn about smart meters. Now, you might have heard of smart meters. You might have heard of them in terms of things that you can do in your house. There's lots of adverts on the TV and things like that about smart meters. So what they do is they help us to know what energy is being used by different things around the house. So if you have a smart meter, have a go at using it. See if you can learn about how much energy your kettle uses, or when you turn the oven on, how much energy does it use, and get to understand which things use lots and which things don't use that much. And then you have a better idea about what are the things that really need turning off when they need turning off. So now Jar's going to talk about travel.
Yes, and this is one of my favourite things. So, as Alex said, there's about 9 million school-age children in the UK. About half of all households have school-age children living within them. So if you imagine every day, all of those children with their parents, some with, some on their own, traveling to school, that's an awful lot of journeys, all happening before 9 o'clock and then sometime after 3 o'clock. So if everybody went in a car, or even if everyone went on the bus, that's a lot of journeys involving vehicles that are creating air pollution and carbon dioxide, the main gas that warms the climate. So what can we do to not do that? Well, this is the best bit. There are much more fun ways of getting to school. My personal favorite is to cycle, like this guy here in the picture. So the average school journey is 1.2 miles in the UK. Now, if we walk at 3 to 4 miles an hour, it would take us about 15 to 16 minutes to walk to school. But if we cycle, we can do that same journey in under 5 minutes, which is amazing. And that means that there's no air pollution. It means you're more healthy. You're using your heart and your lungs and your legs and your arms. You arrive at school more awake because you've been concentrating and having fun at the same time. And it allows you to concentrate better when you're at school. And then because you've been doing exercise, you get to sleep better at the end of the day. So what's not to like about cycling or walking to school? You can do it with your friends, you can do it with family or your brother or sister, and it's just a much more fun way of getting to school. So personally, I love cycling and I try to cycle everywhere that I can. And sometimes I just go for cycles just because I can. Anyway, I would definitely say cycle all that you can, walk all that you can, because really, when you get in the car, you're just sitting in the car. It's a bit boring. Imagine all of those cars that we can just take off the road in one go. So that was my main message about cycling. Let me just see, what's the next slide that we got here? Ah, that's not for me. It's back to you, Alex.
Thanks a lot. And I think one of the things is, don't be the person that nags your mum and dad to go in the car. Don't be the one that says, no, I don't want to walk, I want to go in the car. So yeah, I'd love to walk, I'd love to cycle there. Be that climate champion and really think about how you can be helping the planet. So then the other thing to think about is what you buy and what's bought for you as well, and how you do that. What decisions are you making about what you're buying? We all love to buy things and have new things and to get new technology and gadgets and all that sort of thing. But is there something that you can buy that's maybe secondhand? So can you buy something that's been reused, or that something that's you buy from a second-hand shop that can be just as brilliant, but actually doesn't have the impact that when you buy things that are new? Are there some things that you can choose to buy that have less impact? So if you're buying a chocolate bar, maybe you can buy a fair trade chocolate bar. Or maybe if you're buying something that could be organic or something that uses less energy. So look at the things that you buy. If you need to buy it, try and buy something that doesn't have as much of an impact on the environment. And when we look at our world and all the things that we impact, the things that we buy come from all over the world. So many of our different things that we have around us have been made somewhere else and brought here. So are there things that you can buy that maybe don't have as many product miles, as we call them? So that's the miles it's taken to get them from where they were made to where we want to use them. So are there things that maybe have been made locally or grown locally, or you can buy things that use local products? So that's always a nice way to help local businesses and people around us and people in our towns and villages, but also it helps to protect the environment. So now Giles is going to talk about something very cool.
Ah, yes, we're talking about cows. Well, actually, more specifically, we're going to be talking about food. So food and the production of food accounts for about a third of our greenhouse gases in the world, every year. And that's a lot. It's important, obviously, that we eat. So we're going to always have to eat. So maybe we should be thinking about what we eat, because what we eat is a big choice and it can have a massive impact on the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that's released. So now I've got another slide. The next slide here, Alex, if you could move it on. Here's another picture of cows. This time we're talking about cows burping and farting. So this is where the methane comes from. Now, methane is a really strange gas. It's a greenhouse gas, just like carbon dioxide that you've probably heard about. But the thing is with methane is it traps 30 times more heat than carbon dioxide does. So for every 1 molecule of methane, it's the equivalent of 30 of carbon dioxide. Now, cows produce a lot of this. Did you know that there are, I'm just checking my number, 1.4 billion cows in the world at any one time? That is amazing. That's basically 1 cow for every 8 people alive. Each cow burps or farts about 250 to 500 litres of methane a day. So cows are a significant source of methane and carbon dioxide for the world. Now, it's important. We all need to get protein from somewhere. So Alex and I are certainly not saying you have to be a vegetarian or you have to give up eating meat. But we can all do a bit better by eating a little bit less meat and eating things like vegetables. Now, I know sometimes vegetables aren't very popular, and Alex and I were just talking about the fact that as you get older, for some reason, you like vegetables more and more. I don't know why, it just happens. So you may as well get used to it now, quite frankly, and start to just enjoy them. So my kids for dinner tonight are having basically a plate of food that looks like this, but roasted vegetables with garlic and a little bit of chili and salt and pepper. Delicious. Anyway, if we can all eat a little bit less meat, that will make a huge contribution to tackling climate change. And as I say, we're not saying give it up forever. For example, every now and then I do like a burger, but we just should eat less of it. So maybe enjoy having meat once or twice a week rather than every day, that kind of thing. It'll be good for your health. And here's an amazing thing: you can also grow lots of your own food. So you could do this at school. I'm sure maybe you have a gardening club at school, or you could do it a little bit at home. Even if you just have a windowsill, you could be growing herbs and things like that, or tomatoes. The fun thing is just watching something grow and then eating it. And I tell you what, I guarantee you it'll taste better than anything you ever buy, either at the supermarket or your local grocers, or in fact, than anyone else has ever grown. It tastes better when you grow it yourself. And what's the next thing we're looking at here? Back to you, Alex.
Yes, we're going to talk about using your voice, but I'm just going to say that I love growing my own vegetables. I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy eating it, and I like the fact that they're so local. We talk about buying things that are made locally. Wow, mine are only made, my vegetables that I grow are only made in the garden, which is really brilliant, isn't it? So one of your most powerful weapons that you have to be a climate champion is your voice, is to be able to talk to people about the way that you feel and the way that you think, and to help people to make the right choices. And that might mean that you want to go on a protest like this young man. You want to go and you want to have a placard and make a really cool sign, and you want to go and really make your voice heard in that way. But you don't have to do that. You can if you want to, and if you're allowed to do it, then great, brilliant. Become part of that climate action. You can also do it in other ways as well. So the first rule is you have to be nice and you have to be polite, but you can ask people about things that they're doing, and you can make suggestions to both your friends and your family and adults around the school. So if you see somebody leave something on, or put something in the bin rather than recycling it properly, or if you see somebody being wasteful, you could suggest, as long as you're nice and polite about it, you could suggest that they might want to be a climate champion like you, and they might want to do something else, and they might want to switch off that light or do something really positive. So you can be a really useful, helpful reminder for people who sometimes go slightly the wrong way and get a bit wasteful. So you can do that as well. The other thing that you can do is be like this fantastic girl, Greta. So she wrote a letter to The Guardian, and they're one of the big newspapers. And she got really cross. She said that whenever the magazine for the newspaper comes, it comes in plastic, in a plastic packet. She said, well, that's just silly, because everyone who gets that magazine has that plastic packaging and they have to throw it away, and that's really silly. So she wrote a letter to them, and she said, I don't think we should do this anymore. What are you going to do? You great people at The Guardian, how are you going to do this? And you know what? They made a decision, and they changed their packaging. So they now have compostable bags that their magazines go in, and then some other newspapers copied them as well. So now there's lots of places where they use compostable bags because Greta decided that she wanted to make it a fantastic way that you could have a new way of doing things. And she said, well, I'm just going to write and ask if you could do that. So that's another thing you can do. You can also write to your head teacher, or write to your MP, or write to other people that you think might be able to make some decisions and might be able to help to take some action. So get your pens out and get writing to people who you think can help in climate action. That's a really good way to do it. Use your voice and your pen to start. I know we're not always that great at writing, but it's very good for you. So it's nice to be able to use that way of communicating. So from us, that's some tips that you can do. So you've learned about how you can save energy in your home and in your classroom. You've learned about ways that you can travel around in a better way. You've looked at the things that we buy and how we can make different decisions about the way we buy things. We've looked at our food. We've learned about cows and the gases that come from cows. And we've also looked at the way that we can use our voice. But we've got a special request for you. Can you please talk to your schools and your head teachers about joining the Let's Go Zero campaign? The Let's Go Zero campaign is a group of schools. It's a whole community of schools who are all really excited about being zero carbon by 2030, because we think, and schools think, that they can be real leaders, that collectively schools can be climate champions all together. So I think that's it from us. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much, and we say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.